Production of the J.R. Eldridge Show is made possible with financial support from Turner & Turner, attorneys at law. Blake Bell of Edward Jones Investments. The accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning & Plyler, PLLC. Welch Funeral Home. Roger Wingfield of State Farm Insurance. Southern Bancorp. Southwest Sporting Goods. Taylor King and Associates. Mary and Martha's Florist and Gifts. Price and Company. Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker. Eccles, Thompson and Kneebone. And Farm Bureau Insurance of Clark County. This is the J.R. Eldridge Show with the head coach of the Arkadelphia Badgers. Joining Coach Eldridge today is your host, Caleb Bird.
Welcome back to another week of the J.R. Eldridge Show. I'm your host, Caleb Bird. We're joined as always by Coach Eldridge, and this week we're talking about a big win, the Badgers over Haskell Harmony Grove. Friday night it was 19-0. Kind of a low-scoring game, but a shutout for your defense and a good performance to keep in the race for the conference title.
Yeah, really excited about the way that we finished that game off. I thought we definitely got Haskell's best. They played extremely hard, tough environment to play in. But our players really thought we executed. Especially in the second half, we had too many turnovers. Offensively, we had 415 total yards of offense. We had 373 yards rushing. We were 6 for 8 throwing the football. So really good offensive production. Just, we're a turnover away from another score. We're a penalty away from another score. So the score really doesn't indicate, what if we clean up some of the issues that we had offensively, what it could have been. And we've got to get better at those things. Defensively, huge stop, huge fourth down stop on the goal line right there to help us to keep our 13 points, which are really going to be crucial down the road. So really proud of our defense. Anytime in any level of football, it's hard to pitch a shutout. And so extremely proud of our defensive coaches and our defensive football players, and then also really our scout team that gave the look for Haskell all week. So they did an excellent job of getting our defense prepared for that. So, really, really excited about the win. Can't wait to get better this week and continue to move forward.
And defensively, how pleased were you? Number one, especially with the shutout, but you're playing this type of offense you don't usually see. It's a really quick, really well-executed version of this Diamond T offense. And then you pitch the shutout, and more than that, you get those 13 tiebreaker points, which can be crucial come the end of the season.
Yeah, that was huge for us, and it's a tough offense. Really, the toughest thing about their offense to stop is the fact that they're okay with just getting 2 to 3 yards every play and then going forward on fourth down. And then the other factor that, you may or may not be aware of would be the clock, and how much time they're taking off of the clock because they're not snapping it until the very last second. And then they're always running the football. I think they threw 3 passes. So extremely proud of our guys and the way that they were able to rise up, get that fourth down stop, and then also hold them pointless for the evening.
Right. All right, let's take a look at some of those big defensive plays from the highlights. So we're going to start off. Badgers give the ball to Harmony Grove on the kickoff. And it was a big crowd there at Harmony Grove. It was their homecoming night, so the atmosphere was pretty electric from the home fans. One of the best atmospheres on the road I think Arkadelphia's seen.
Yeah, it's a tough place to play. Felt like our players did a good job. Ethan Savage on that kick. We had 2 TFLs, which is more than we've had as of late. So really excited about our kickoff coverage team and the way he kicked the ball.
The bit of a drive here on the first drive for Harmony Grove. You only saw 3 plays there, but they ran about 6 minutes off the clock to start the game.
Yeah, and that's their game plan. We had talked all week about trying to make sure that we make the most of our possessions offensively, and then also defensively getting them off the field quickly.
Right, when you're making the defensive highlights here, usually you wouldn't put 2 to 3 yard runs in a highlight reel, but that was every play for Harmony Grove. So
it really was.
Right here, Buster Thomas scrambles. Ball comes out. That was on 3rd down. It ruled to be down, so no fumble, but Arkadelphia forced a punt. That was a great punt from Kyron.
Really was. He's doing a great job right here. We pin him back inside the 5. I thought that was a huge special teams play for us. Great punt right there. And then good job on the coverage downfield.
Yeah, so defense pushed them deep here in their own territory, but they're able to pick up, once again, these 2-3 yard gains, able to get a first down.
Yeah, it's tough, and it's really even tougher. I mean, you've got to be really good defensive line-wise on squeezing, taking away any space that might be there for their offense to sift through. And if you watch the film closely, a lot of times it's hard to even see who's got the ball.
Right.
So that's why it was extremely important to have a great look team all week, which we did, and then to be able to execute to create, turnover on downs. And Haskell did a great job of holding on to the football. Coach Guthrie and his staff did a great job. Up to this game, they'd turned the ball over more so than they did versus us.
And when you're running this defensive scheme and you're looking at how to cover this, are the linebackers, are they covering a specific running back, or are they reading the guards, or what's their strategy there?
Really the tight ends, wings would be covered by the safeties, and then the linebackers, first back out of the backfield. Just depending on which call we're in. But yeah, they've got really our secondary guys and our linebackers have to have their eyes right every play.
All right, offense now for Arkadelphia is a big rushing performance from both guys in the backfield. Buster Thomas had over 180 yards, and then Kyron had over 200 yards rushing.
Yeah, so Kyron was our offensive player of the game. Obviously 200 yards on 22 carries, over a 9-yard average. Unbelievable performance right there. We really want Kyron to run through the back of the end zone right there. But just had an outstanding day, and we've got to be able to give him a break offensively and defensively. Expect Braylon Bailey to come on and be able to get in there and make some things happen at the cat spot. To keep Kyron fresh as well.
Yeah, Braylon Bailey has looked good at the running back position when he's gotten a chance. He's only a sophomore, but he's been a good player this season.
Yeah, if we can just clean up those fumbles that he had versus Fountain Lake, didn't end up hurting us versus Fountain Lake, but he's got to hold on to that football, and once he starts doing that, we'll be able to really get him some quality snaps.
That's probably the biggest running play of the night from Fountain Lake, just pushing through the offensive line. Got a big push on the play, but everything else you see here, 2-3 yard gains, some tackles for losses. I'll tell you what, a lot of these defensive linemen picked up a lot of tackles.
Yeah, really did a good job. And then you saw on the previous play, there's Kyron. That's a huge 3rd down stop right there to make him punt on 4th down. You saw Ja'Shawn Davis making some plays on defense. And then Landon Kuhn was our defensive player of the week. He had 7 unassisted tackles, 2 TFLs, and an assist. As a sophomore, really stepping up and coming in. He's done a great job the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's a guy that hasn't had, against a spread offense, he doesn't have a ton of playing time that he's a defensive end. You have 2 really good upperclassmen defensive ends, but he's a really good sophomore player.
And the way he's performed the last 2 weeks, we feel really confident that he'll come in and do a great job for us.
So do you see yourselves kind of moving around that defensive line a little bit to give himself some more playing time?
Well, when Ricky Rogers, as much as Ricky also plays on offense, we feel really comfortable about Kuhn being able to come in and play defensive end there, just the way that he's played versus Fountain Lake and versus Haskell.
So Arkadelphia offense now working really hard to pick up these first downs. There was a lot of screen passes like this one right here. Is that a read option screen kind of pass?
Yeah, it is. It is a read. So our quarterback's going to read the defensive end first, then his eyes go to the second level. If the second level defender is coming at him, then he's going to throw the bubble. If the second level defender is chasing the bubble, he will keep the football.
It's almost like a triple option run, but with a screen at the end of it. So here's getting down inside the 10-yard line now is Thomas, and this is working in at the end of the first half, really trying to get a score in here to go 2 scores up at halftime.
Yeah, really right here, we're penalized on this play right here. So we run a 4th down. After that penalty, I really should have brought the field goal unit on, because we had a semi-timeout because of the penalty. Could have changed personnel and got the field goal unit on to kick the field goal. Didn't do that. That's on me to give us those 3 points. But this is a great job right here by Kai, recovering that onside kick. We said all week that we've got to secure the football on special teams so that they don't minimize our possessions. We're able to secure that ball, and then Kai is able to take it into the box right here.
That was a great run from Kyron. He danced around a defender in the hole and then was able to accelerate. So showing off all of his different skills there at running back.
Yeah, and we were trying to get the 2 points back that we missed on the first PAT right there. We've really got to do a better job of creating push up front to get Ricky Rogers in the end zone on trap right there.
All right, so scores 12-0 now. After the failed 2-point conversion, you almost pinned the ball down there at the 1-yard line and forced a difficult situation for Harmony Grove. It bounces into the end zone, but defense making another big play right there.
Huge. Our defense again did a great job all night. Felt like right there, especially creating that 3 and out, gave us a real opportunity to really come on this next drive.
All right, yeah, the offense coming back out on the field, 12-0 lead. A good run here from Kyron on the left side. He had some big holes. The offensive line created some big holes for Harrison and Thomas to run through.
Really did. You can see Lorenzo Lawson right there with the pancake block on number 74. Lorenzo was co-offensive player of the week with Kyron for us. Just did a great job. Offensive line in general did a great job of creating those holes for our runners.
Pfeiffer with a big run right there. He's really stepped into that slot role since Thomas has moved to quarterback.
He's done a great job catching the football and running the football. We've got to clean this up right here. This is a turnover. We drive the length of the field, and again, if you look at statistically, we've got almost 450 yards of total offense. But only 19 points to show for it right there. We should have been, we're a foot away from being in the end zone. We've got to put 2 hands on contact right there. And then the penalty right before the half. So really we're 2 penalties away from being, from really taking ownership of the game rather than just being up, whatever it is, 16 right there, or 18.
Right, so Harmony Grove goes to the passing game. They get 1 pass complete. Guy gets behind the defense, and Kyron makes a good tackle to stop them. And then the rest of their pass plays on the night didn't go too well. They were well covered by the Badgers. And here's the offense coming back. A big run from Buster. He's just so electric there at quarterback.
Yeah, he's really slippery. Right here, we make this throw. Great job by Jay Sean Davis right there, catching that football, making something happen.
Yeah, here we go. Kyron Harrison bouncing off a tackle, bursting into the second level, and gets caught from behind. Almost broke that one away. And read option here, taking up the middle is Thomas.
Yeah, again, just our offensive line doing a great job. And then obviously our runners really doing a good job.
Here's Thomas getting into the end zone on that left side and putting up the third and final touchdown of the night. Extra point is going to be good from Savage, and that leads. This is our final score, 19-0, going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, this was another great kick by Ethan Savage right there. Some of his best kicks on kickoff up to this point. Thought he did a great job this week.
All right, coming back out, and the defense really stepped up in the second half. Harmony Grove put together some of those really long drives in the first half, and they didn't get too much yardage, but took a lot of time off the clock. But in the second half, they weren't able to do that. The defense stopped them pretty quickly.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I'm just so proud of our defense and the way they played throughout the entire night. I think they gave up only 129 yards rushing, which when they're running the football almost every snap, that's really, really good. We've got to, again, eliminate those turnovers in traffic. We got to put two hands on contact, so we don't give the ball back to them.
All right, so here, Harmony Grove, after the turnover, they're driving deep into Badger territory. They're taking a lot of time off the clock in this drive. So on the sideline, you're watching this drive, and they're taking so much time off the clock. Are you thinking that at this point they've kind of stopped trying to win the game? They just want to score? What are you thinking at this point on the sideline?
Well, I mean, they're not. We knew if we were able to get up on them by multiple scores that their offense is just not designed to be a hurry-up offense. So we felt like if we were able to get up on them by multiple scores, then we would have the game in hand. So. But really, the fourth down stop right there, it was more, it was huge for us as far as being able to keep those 13 points for the any tiebreaker that might come up. And we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we've got to focus on doing our best within each game and really focusing on the opponent at hand. But those things will eventually matter.
Yeah, and so are you telling your team about that tiebreaker at all in that situation, or are you just telling them get the stop right here?
No, I mean, we're really, while the defense is out there, I mean, Haskell had created some momentum with their drive. I mean, we really don't have time to tell them that. I mean, the biggest thing is, and that's one of the things that we try to teach our guys from 7th grade on up is win for the sake of winning. Get a fourth down stop for the sake of getting a fourth down stop. You do that, and if you're able to teach that, that it's more of an intrinsic motivation than it is an extrinsic motivation. I'm going to get this stop because I want to get this stop, and I felt like our defense did a great job of that. They wanted to have that shutout regardless of whether it was going to mean points for a tiebreaker or not. So I was really proud of the way that they were able to get the ball back to our offense right there.
And so throughout the game, there were quite a few turnovers, quite a few penalties. Looking forward at the rest of the season, how can you correct that?
Well, the biggest thing is, we go in on Sunday, we watch the film of those mistakes. We call it the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're able to show our guys on film. These are uncharacteristic mistakes. These are mistakes that could possibly get you beat. These are mistakes that could lead to us not getting our 13 points or whatever the case might be. We're able to show those things on film, and then as a coaching staff, we've got to be able to train our players in such a way that those things they aren't allowed to happen during a game. So what I mean by that is to create habits in practice that are so ingrained that out on the game field you don't have those mistakes. And so again, it rolls uphill. We talk about our coaching staff making sure that we take responsibility for things that even our players do that might be wrong, but have we done a great enough job of getting those things ingrained as habits in our players? So that's one of the things that we've got to do better as a coaching staff. And then our players have got to do better of being able to apply those things in practice.
Yeah, Coach. And a guy who had a good game, he wasn't the offensive player of the game, but Buster Thomas at quarterback, his second game as a starter. He's looking really comfortable back there. He's scrambling a lot out of the pocket, but he's such a good runner that works out. But are you happy with how he's performed at quarterback? Yeah,
I felt like he did a really good job managing the game on Friday night. The couple things that we've got to work on. We've got to work on his ball security once he does scramble. The ball was extremely loose. There was a couple plays where really we were 6 for 8, which is really good. But on two of the pass plays, we've got to really step into that ball better, not open our hips as much, so it's not coming out with all arm. I guess it was the second play of the game, the throw to Kai, which was underthrown. We just got to get that ball to him. And there are technical issues that are very, very correctable that, we can get corrected this week in practice. And so I'm really excited about the way he played and excited about him learning those little things that we're going to talk about this week that we're going to try to make sure that we correct so it doesn't happen again.
Hey, and then for Buster himself, how big is this experience that he's getting right now at quarterback? Looking ahead next year, he'll be presumably the starting quarterback. How big is the experience he's getting right now?
Oh, I think it's huge. I mean, and Buster's such a great young man. He's got a great character. He's got manners. He's good in the classroom. So he's a great young man already. And then you add to that the experience that he's getting out on this football field. He wants to be the best football player that he can be. He knows how to play our quarterback. He knows how to play our running back position. He knows how to play our slot. At quarterback, the experience that he's getting is he knows what everybody's doing, not just slot and running back. So now he's able to really to be able to see the whole field more from that quarterback spot.
That's great. And then with the injury to Turner, a lot of guys have stepped up on offense. It's really been a good team performance the last 2 weeks to get those victories.
Really has. I mean, somebody that you might not even notice that's done a really good job on our holds is Alex Loy. He was actually our Badger Spirit Award winner this week because of the way he ran Haskell's scout team. I talked about how good of a look we gave our defense throughout the week. He was one of the biggest reasons for that.
All right, so we're over halfway through the conference season now. So I think it's about time to look at the other scores from last week. All the teams you'd expect to win won. Bauxite 32-14 over Fountain Lake. Robinson 46-7 over Malvern. And Nashville won 55-20 over Ashdown. We're going to get the standings pulled up now. And the race at the top of the conference is heating up. You got Bauxite undefeated still, top of the conference, but they've yet to play Robinson, Nashville, and Arkadelphia, their last 3 games. So this conference race, who's going to win the title? It could be really close this year.
Yeah, it really could be. We're just – all of that stuff in our minds is going to play out. We've got to really focus on correcting things that we did that we didn't do so well in the previous game. Continue to get better at those things that we did well, and let all of those other details take care of themselves. Because the bottom line is, you're only as good as your next performance. And so we've got to make sure that we're getting better this week in practice, and we're going to be great for our next performance.
Right, the next performance is going to be this Friday night against Ashdown. It's one of these teams Arkadelphia has played for a really long time, a team that usually has a lot of athletes. Is that what we're looking at this year?
Yeah, they're very, very athletic. Ashdown's got some great athletes out there on the football field. They've also got a good mix of offensive line, defensive line guys in there, and so we've got to expect their best. And I believe that we've gotten everybody's best up to this point, and we got to continue to get better and continue to play our best football this week versus Ashdown. We've got to do it in practice first, and then let that take care of the game.
Right, and you look at the way Ashdown's performed this season, they haven't done as well as they usually do. Usually they're right up there getting some big wins, scoring a lot of points usually every week, but this year they haven't done quite as well. So how are you going to focus your team in and say this team still has a lot of talent?
Well, I think the biggest thing is knowing what we've got to do, and being able to execute that as best we can. So we'll go through the game plan today, talk about how we're going to attack them offensively, defensively, and on special teams. Try to digest that game plan throughout the week, and then really hopefully that leads into really working together on offense, defense, special teams throughout the game to try to put together a dominating performance.
Right, and is there anything in particular you think you could take advantage of from Ashdown?
Right now they've got a sophomore quarterback. He's a good quarterback, but he is a sophomore quarterback. They've got and really defensively, I think that they're pretty good. Offensively, they're pretty good. a lot of times during this point in the year, teams are really either going to start moving forward and climbing the ladder, trying to get better, or they're going to wane. So hopefully we're going to continue to climb that ladder and really take advantage of really offense, defense, special teams, and trying to dominate in those particular phases throughout the game.
We looked at the standings a minute ago. Arkadelphia is in a great position to win the conference title this year. Even though there's 4 teams up there, Arkadelphia is probably in the best position they've been in the last 3 years to win the title. So how big of a motivation is that for your team to perform well every week? Because Arkadelphia they've won 2 state championships in a row, but they haven't won the title in the conference in a while.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather win the state than I would the conference, obviously, but we want to win the conference. That's one of our goals. We wanted to win our non-conference, we want to win the conference, and then we want to win the state. And that's something that we talk about, and so we visit that, every now and then, and you really talk about those big picture goals in minute detail compared to the way that you talk about what's right in front of us. So we want to have that big vision right there and talk about it a little bit, but what is it going to take? It's going to take a great performance versus Ashdown. It's going to take focus on little details that we've got to be great at this week in practice in order to accomplish that. We talk about it as a big picture goal, but after we do that, we try to zoom in on what's right in front of us, and what's right in front of us right now is Ashdown.
Exactly right. So finally, any injury updates you can give us?
Matthew Parnham, he's working his way back from his knee sprain, so we're excited about being able to get him back for this week. Cannon Turner's continuing his physical therapy, and we'll know a little bit more as we move forward throughout that progression. Having the physical therapist evaluate him, our trainers evaluate him, and a doctor evaluate him, and based on how he's feeling, all of that information combined will help us to know exactly when he'll be able to return.
Right. All right, well, it'll be a big game this week against Ashdown, historical rival for the Badgers. They're going to play at Badger Stadium at 7 p.m. Friday night. So hope to see you there at the game, and then we'll be back next week to break it down right here on the J.R. Eldridge Show. Thanks for tuning in.
Sponsors of the J.R. Eldridge Show include Southwest Sporting Goods, Taylor King and Associates, Mary and Martha's Florist and Gifts, Price and Company, Doctors Rob and Gary Rucker, Eccles, Thompson and Kneebone, Farm Bureau Insurance of Clark County, Turner and Turner, Attorneys at Law, Blake Bell of Edward Jones Investments, the accounting firm of Turner, Rogers, Manning and Plyler, Welch Funeral Home, Roger Wingfield of State Farm Insurance, and Southern Bancorp. The J.R. Eldridge Show is produced each week by the Rogers Department of Communication at Ouachita Baptist University.